It lasted longer than we knew, impacting more people than we thought. And at a time when reassurance is needed, the Optus boss has gone quiet. 4 days after the outage in which 3 people died, we want to know when we call 000, we'll get through. Leadership is about owning mistakes, instilling confidence that it won't happen again. We're yet to see that.
Mr. Rue, Maggie Ray from A Current Affair. We just have a few questions.
Optus CEO Stephen Rue making a hasty exit from his seaside Sydney mansion.
We just want to ask about your call centres. 95% of them are overseas. Surely, Mr. Rue, you can admit that is a problem.
The waiting car and driver, a far cry from an ambulance and paramedic some customers urgently needed last Thursday.
Do these call centres understand, Mr. Rue? 000 is Australia's emergency number.
Since the catastrophic outage that impacted 000 calls connected to at least 3 deaths, the telco boss has not responded to our requests for an interview.
It does start with the CEO. The responsibility for security and the security culture has to start in my case with me.
2 days before the disaster, Rue unwittingly forecast the drama to come at a cyber summit in Sydney.
Well, you've got to prepare carefully for crisis. It's not a beautiful playbook on a piece of paper. It's practical, it's tested, it's tried.
A test Optus spectacularly failed, not once, but twice. The telco giant only just recovering from the 2023 outage that cost the company a $12 million fine. Doug Costello and his family tried desperately to call 000 when his father-in-law, Stephen, suffered a stroke last Thursday. Stephen is still in hospital. The family is still waiting for answers from Mr. Rue and Optus.
Yeah, they have so many questions for the CEO. I spoke to Alice and Doug late this afternoon. Hey guys, I am so sorry for what you've been through. Alice, how is your dad?
He's doing okay. He's got a long road to recovery. He still can't feel anything in his right side of his body.
So let's just talk through what happened, because Steve suffered a stroke at 9:29 Thursday morning. There were 4 of you at the house, all on Optus.
Exactly right, yeah.
How many times did you all call 000?
I think in total with all of us, I think it's about 25 times.
Oh,
all of us, easily.
If not more.
If not more.
Yeah, if not more.
Those 25 calls that you all made, that was all over 30, 40-minute time frame.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly right, yep.
Yeah. And how were you feeling in that moment? You are calling 000 and you can't get through and you don't know why.
Well, you've already got the pressure of someone that's suffering, someone that you love, and you can't help them. You're trying to contact someone to help them, and they're not responding, they're not answering. It was very stressful.
And so that's when...
Absolutely.
Alice, your mum then called your brother, who's also with Optus. He couldn't get through either, but he was with a mate, and that mate had Telstra.
Yes.
He got straight through.
Yes.
Explain how you ended up talking to the 000 operator.
So we put both phones on loudspeaker and put them together so we could speak to them over the phone, explain the situation of what was happening to my dad and try and get him to the hospital as soon as possible.
Wow, so you've got 3 phones on speaker just so that you're able to tell the operator what was going on with your dad. I mean, and as all of this is playing out, how was your dad? Because we know with a stroke that time is critical. It can attack up to 1.9 million brain cells per minute.
Who knows if Optus was actually working, he could have got there a lot quicker and the recovery might not be as long, might not be as bad. The bleed on his brain might not have been as big. Like, we don't know.
Exactly
because
right.
he suffered multiple other mini strokes, so we don't know if he experienced them beforehand or after.
Yep, just made a bad situation worse. When did you clock it was a problem with Optus?
We were all kind of like looking at each other thinking it was all us. But then, you know, why were we able to call each other? We can call each other, but we can't call 000.
That's what is mad about this, that you could still call each other. The only number you couldn't call was 000.
It is crazy.
Yeah. So I know then you called Optus Thursday morning straight after you knew your dad was safe, and you got an operator in the Philippines. How'd that go?
They pushed the blame onto us, that saying it's our phone. All we had to do was turn the phone off and on. They, honestly just didn't care.
OK, so you get absolutely nothing out of this operator, so then you do the next best thing. You try the Ombudsman, you speak to someone in Australia, lodge a complaint with her office. That does get passed on to Optus, yet it's another 2 hours before the telco even knows that there is a problem. That is incompetence, and that is frightening.
100% it's incompetent, absolutely. And that, when I first seen the, the statement the head of Optus made, and he said we didn't get a, complaint until 1 p.m. and onwards, was absolutely ridiculous.
Which is total lies.
100% lies.
And it's just like one lie after another continuing.
Absolutely. We were on that phone and we were vicious.
Yeah.
We were angry. We told them what was happening. No one wanted to help us. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you take that one thing away, the connection to the health system, Optus was our connection to be able to save a loved one's life.
Have you heard from Optus yet? They're obliged to do a welfare check.
No.
No, we haven't heard a thing.
Not a thing. No, they've treated us like a customer that's complaining about a bill.
Yeah, I cannot believe that Optus hasn't reached out to you yet. I know that the police did a welfare check late Thursday night, but I mean, it's almost like, why rush it? It's only been 4 days. Can I ask you this? Have you changed telcos yet?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Telstra connects people.
Hey, guys, you did everything you possibly could and more to raise the alarm, yet you were let down at every turn. We are hoping that Steve makes a really swift recovery and he's home soon, but thank you so much for your time.
No, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and we are all thinking of you at the moment, Steve. Well, Carol Bennett goes into bat for customers having dramas with their telcos. Carol, you seem gobsmacked listening to what Doug and Alice just had to say.
Well, I'm shocked and appalled, and I think everyone would be to hear what Alice and Doug had to say about their experience. This is unacceptable. It should never happen. It should never have happened the last time. It certainly shouldn't have happened this time.
Well, I mean, I think that's what we all thought when we heard this. How can this happen again? But do you have much confidence that it won't happen a third or even a fourth time?
Well, I don't really have a lot of confidence, and I think a lot of Australians at the moment would be thinking the same thing because, we already know that the level of trust in the telco industry is pretty low, but this really rocks people's confidence in the system. They need to know when they need to contact 000 in an emergency that they will get through. That is absolutely fundamental. It's not something that should ever be compromised. So I just think, this could happen again, and that's why we're calling on the Federal Communications Minister to intervene.
So you say this could happen again. I mean, does that what we all need to have 2 mobile plans in case we need to call 000 at some stage?
Well, I'm sure people are asking themselves that question. I mean, how can we be assured in this situation that 000 will function when we need it, in any situation where Australians might find themselves needing access to an emergency service for their safety?
Do we know what actually happened yet? I know that today we learnt that the outage started before the system upgrade had even begun.
Look, we don't know all the circumstances, and clearly Optus are commissioning a review. I know that the ACMA, the regulator in this instance, is also going to be reviewing all of the processes.
But isn't that like the whole part of the problem, that everyone's going, we don't know how this happened?
Yes.
Like, maybe you can get away with that the first time it happened, but there were all these government recommendations that were made. I think there were 18 that were ensured that when you call 000, someone's going to answer. Like, it feels like no one actually knows what's going on.
No, that's right. And that's why consumer confidence is at an all-time low, because we need to know what is the story here. We need constant updates. We need to know that the system will work.
What is wrong with Optus? I mean, they handled the last 000 crisis terribly. This has been even worse, hasn't it?
Look, the last one was a failure to connect 2,000 emergency calls to 000. This one is 624 people, I believe, across 3 states. That's a significant failure, but in this case, there are 3 deaths linked to this. This is devastating, and our hearts go out to the families of those people and everybody who tried to contact 000 and couldn't get through.
But there seems to be failures here at every turn. I mean, we called the Ombudsman late Friday about this. The media person didn't even know about it. That was a problem. And then after that last outage, one of the recommendations was to create a 000 custodian. Where's that person?
Look, we have a unit within the Communications Department that has been established in the wake of the Bean Review recommendations, but I understand there's some legislation that still needs to go through the Parliament to fully enact the functions of that unit. We do.
Why when, like you said, like we've just lost 3 lives in this. This was 18 months ago when it happened last time. Yeah. How much time do we need to? I mean, this has got to be like top of the priority list, isn't it? That a 000 system in this country works every time.
Yes, and we need to see that legislation fast-tracked, and whatever needs to be done to ensure that we can have confidence in the 000 system from here.
What should happen to Optus?
Well, look, Optus will have to be accountable. The Minister has said today that they will be, dealing with the brunt of whatever comes out of this review, and that the consequences will be severe. We absolutely think that Optus has to be accountable. They need to be transparent with the Australian public, and certainly we want to see fines that are commensurate with the seriousness of this breach, levelled on them. And last time it was $12 million. I'd suggest that's probably the cost of doing business.
OK, well, there's still a lot to play out here. Thank you so much, Carol. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Ellie.